So thank you. We are very grateful, Kurt, that you are that you made a last minute change to be with us today and to share visions of peace, especially since September 21st is International Peace Day. So the timing is really very perfect. So we know you have a long history in peace, and thank you for sharing with us what you're going to share with us. So if you want to take it away from here, we're grateful. Thank you.
To begin this, the only way we can ever begin it is with great respect and love. It's the only way peace comes about. And so I welcome you with my entire heart that I can. And we get to have a day today that is an opportunity to figure out what it is that your vision of peace is. If you can put the first slide on it, it would be nice.
Okay, let's see.
What is your vision of peace? Right now, write it down. Put it down if first of all, how many people have ever, raise your hand if you've ever written your vision of peace down? How many hands are up? Normally, in an entire room of 100 or 200 people, I ask that question, and one person may raise their hand. One person out of 100. When I was at the International Convention for Rotary Club in Calgary this year, same thing. In the entire convention, an hour and a half presentation that I had, out of all the people that were there, one person had it written down. So when we write it down, one of the world scriptures starts with the word. In the beginning was the word. That's the very first opening statement of one of the world scriptures. The word is a creative force. And when we write it down, what happens? It can start to attract. It'll attract what? What our mind is focused on, what we are thinking about. It's the law of attraction, which so many of us know. And if you don't know it, you'll get to experience it. Why? Because we will practice it. So right now, I'm going to give you the PeacMakers miracle practice. It's 3 times. We're going to do this, and we'll do it 3 times a day or more. So here we are. I want you to lean forward right now. Have your hands on your lap if you're sitting. If you're standing, that's all right. You can do it like you're davening in the Western Wall. Davening is a Jewish practice in front of the Western Wall, and you rock your body and you're doing your prayers. Well, we can do a similar thing because we have a practice that is physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual in one package of meditation to create this miracle. So leaning forward, as we're ready to breathe in, we say, peace in everything as we bend backwards, breathing in, touching our heart, and as we bend forward slowly, everything as peace. Thank you for peace in everything, breathing in, touching the heart, everything as peace. Thank you for peace in everything, allowing the heart to touch your fingers, and everything as peace. Now, I did it 4 times, but all you need to do is 3 times, 3 times a day. Are you ready to do that? To create a miracle? How would it become a miracle? That's where we get into the practice. Next slide, please. So this is a formula that a lady named Tamsin Woolley Barker created. She's a genius archaeologist and anthropologist and whatever. She's got a place down near Anza Borrego Desert, a big center for teaming I highly recommend you check that out. But Tamsin has this formula that says, because I believe, and so on, I am called to whatever that is that you say is your belief of peace, so to speak, and then the way that, and so on. My vision is because I believe total peace is possible. I am called to be peace in a way that ignites in others their vision of peace, resulting in us creating peace in everything. Everything is peace. There's the unity and diversity. Now, what happened when I'm at this place called Rotary International? I met somebody came up to me, they were Ukrainian. And I said, what is your vision of peace? What was their answer? Kill all the Russians. And I said, will that bring peace? It stopped them in their tracks. Very quickly, they realized, without me saying anything else, that really, not really. We get to reflect. This is a Kashmir Shaivistic or tantric practice called recognition. We get to recognize, reflect on what is really our vision of peace, what will bring peace. So when we repeat this every day I wake up, once a day at least, I will repeat my vision of peace. Why? It ingrains it, and it has been refined over the years. It has gotten to be so succinct and yet so powerful in its little simplicity. You will create your own vision of peace. But the beauty with this incredible team that we have here, this satsang that we have, and all the people that we come in contact with, will be able to feel it from us. We'll be able to see the subtle changes that we have been making just because of this simple practice. Now, what happens 3 times a day? Well, morning, noon, and night is common kind of an idea. You can do it breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You could do it any time of day that you think that you're out of sync with peace. And I'm going to give you a simple, very quick practice if we get into the next slide. Now, how many people here are over 20 years old? Well, everybody raises their hand here. And most places where I get to speak now are like that. I used to teach in the ghettos of Los Angeles. And if I got angry, I had to practice. I don't know if you heard that, but I thumped my thymus. Now, most people don't know where their thymus is. So I'm going to show you. If everybody takes their hand and you put it at the base of your throat, you have it on your chest, but you rest it on your chest, but it's the base of your throat. And then you take your other hand and you put it right in the center of your chest, underneath that hand, and you remove the hand, and right about 2 to 3 inches below your breastbone is your thymus gland. It's right in front of your heart. And when you thump your thymus firmly, it stimulates the thymus gland, which is your modulator of your endocrine system. The endocrine system is your pineal gland and so on, all the way down to your gonads or your vital organs down there. It's your whole chakra system, as they say in Sanskrit. It affects that whole thing. And it stops the overproduction of adrenaline if you are angry. You stop it, then you can say, if the person cuts you off on the freeway, you yell out, "Bless you!" Most people say another kind of a phrase. Instead of saying the other phrase, which usually hurts things or makes things worse, doesn't calm you down, you say, "Bless you!" Get the negative energy out in transformation into a positive energy. And that, then you can say, "Thank you for peace in everything. Everything is peace. Thank you for peace in everything. Everything is peace. Thank you for peace in everything. Everything is peace." However you want to do it. You can yell it, however, but make that breathing happen. And the breathing will start to calm down as you focus on those chosen words. It gets the mind focused a little bit more. We all know this. It's an aspect of meditation. It's an aspect of concentration. But who here in our whole Sangha here has ever been taught in school how to concentrate? Nobody in this ever gets to raise their hand. Why? They tell you to concentrate, but they never have taught you how to concentrate. We used to teach all kinds of methods of concentration in the schools I taught at. Now, when do we need an energy boost? We tap our thymus. We thump our thymus. If you have an incident where you think, "Oh, I don't feel good. I feel like a little dizzy," thump your thymus. If you've hurt yourself, thump it, because it'll get a lot more adrenaline flowing to be able to fuel that body with good oxygen. It'll get the flow of energy. And it enhances your immune system. So that's that. Next slide, please. We get into how I got all this stuff happening. This is how this peacemaker evolved. Since 1969, I've taught in East Los Angeles starting, where a boy was stabbed and fell in front of my room. And a PE teacher had been like a Gestapo man and not such a kind young soul to his students. And a gang jumped the fence and kicked his head in. That was the kind of a school I taught at. And I've had guns pulled on me and knives and so on ever since that time in that particular school. And I've been all over Los Angeles Unified School District. I brought meditation into the worst school in America when I learned it in 1974. It changed the school. It's a powerful practice. So I brought it into more and more places that I was working at, because I also started something later on that evolved in a grander scale. But throughout my years of teaching, 47 years in LA Unified and a few years in Torrance, and in 1977, I got into a hijacked airplane. How do you experience peace with hijackers having automatic weapons, plastic explosives at the doors, and what was the other thing they had? Automatic hand grenades. Ah, yes, hand grenades. It was the time, because I had been practicing meditation for a year, because I was flying out of Bombay Airport. The Japanese Red Army took over the plane 45 minutes later. They ran down the aisles yelling and screaming. And I thought, oh boy. I didn't say, oh boy. I said, Om Namah Shivaya. because I had been taught that mantra. I used the mantra Muktananda gave me. And I started to get into a bit of a meditation, except it went from Om Namah Shivaya to Om Namah Shivaya, oh shit, oh shit. And I caught myself doing this, oh shit, oh shit. and, and the hijackers came back to the second class section when they took over the plane, and they had the hand grenades and had the handguns and so on. And they said, put your arms behind our head. And everybody is pretty much looking at the guy with such anger and contempt, I think, or something. But the guy said, close your eyes, because he didn't want to see their eyes. And so we had to have that happen. And after 45 minutes of having the hands behind the head, I said, excuse me, sir, can we put our arms down? And he shakes his handgun and he says, no. So I shut up and kept my arms behind the head. And finally, the head hijacker comes and he says, okay, you can put your arms down. So we put our arms down, and he said, give us your weapons and this and that and the other thing, but you can keep your valuables. I took a little glass that had blessed water in it, and I took a swig of it. I've never drunk, quote, holy water before. I was raised Catholic. And I drink this stuff, and I started to get into this deep state of meditation. And ultimately, I got off first. I could go on and on about that little experience. What I'd like to do is have us, right now, do this little practice again. Are you ready? Lean forward. Peace in everything. Everything is peace. Peace in everything. Everything is peace. Thank you for peace in everything. Everything is peace. So why did I do that? I felt a lack of focus. For me, maybe it might have been for somebody listening. Because that's what happens when we get into the space of that oneness. Is we start to sense not just ourself, but the room, so to speak. When I met the Dalai Lama for the first time, I got to open his door and guide him into the shrine auditorium and open the door there. And then they didn't let me go into the room, but I went into the regular auditorium after that. But you could sense when he came into that room without even seeing him. Same thing with Thich Nhat Hanh when he came to Los Angeles. Sitting in Culver City at the auditorium there. That presence of love is so powerful. So bringing this love that meditation gives us, that opening of the heart, is the thing that I focused on ever since I learned it from Muktananda. And I was very, what you might call, cultic in those days. I used Om Namah Shivaya only, and I gave reasons why it was so useful. Like when I first introduced it to a boy at Barindo Junior High School, where I took away guns and knives and everything else there, broke up a fight a day, and weapon a week type of a thing. I said, we're going to close our eyes and sit up straight at the start of class. And for 2 weeks, we did that as I'm taking roll. And when I'm done with roll, I had the kids open their eyes. Then I gave them a mantra. I said, Om Namah Shivaya. I said what it is, what it meant. It means I honor my inner self, my higher self, this thing that makes me know I'm awake, asleep, and dreaming and all that. And I said, you have this incredible practice. It's going to concentrate the mind even more. And this big guy in the back, he says, Om Namahu, I ain't going to do that shit. And I said, John, he was a big guy, about 6'4" or 5" and about 200 pounds, 250 pounds. I said, John, I don't know if you're doing it or not. I do know if your eyes and mouth are closed. But you know why it is good for you because I just explained it to you. If you want to, you can do it. Thank you. And we went on. And the class was, their grades never got to be so good. I knew the counselor of all of them. And they changed in all of their classes. They got better and better as the semester went. Now, jump forward a little bit. Institute of Sports Psychology. Excuse me, not that far forward. No, I'm jumping forward in regard to the Institute of Sports Psychology and Success Systems. I started to bring this into the business field in sports because I had been an elite athlete. I've been an All-American swimmer at one time and had a scholarship to Colorado and so on. My twin brother was too. But I started the Institute of Sports Psychology, and I don't have a degree in psychology. My PhD is in playing happily daily. All I do is I've applied it in sports psychology. I applied it for myself. How did I do it? My twin brother talked me into entering the International Senior Olympics. I won 4 gold medals without training in 11 years. People said, how'd you do that? When I came back to Crenshaw High School, they said, how did you do that? And I said, well, I've been meditating. And I taught some athletes how to meditate. A 6'6" high jumper in 3 months after practicing it, jumped 7'1". He got a scholarship to USC. A guy, a 880 man, dropped to 154 in 3 months just because he was meditating. It's the only thing he changed in his life. Nobody else on their team dropped so much. And so I brought it into teaching it around Southern California. And then slowly but surely, I was invited over to give a presentation for the British National Coaches Association in the UK. I did that. Then when I moved to India for a year, I trained the team for the Asian Games in '82. And a guy, a big industrialist says, we can't have you leave India without leaving your wisdom here and this to be able to happen here. We'll form an institute if you don't mind. And I said, okay, let's do it. And he was the organizer of that. I got things happening. We published publications in international journals and so on and so forth. And this guy doesn't have a PhD, doesn't have any psychology degree. But I found out a holistic system. Why? I know about nutrition. How did I find out about that? From Muktananda initially, and then I investigated through the diamonds and who's that guy that had Robbins and so on. These people that knew about nutrition. And Dr. Gabriel Cousins is a dear friend of mine. He has a book called Conscious Eating. If you haven't ever read something on eating, try that. It's an amazing book. And it deals with it's like, I consulted on his first book, which was a Spiritual Nutrition and the Rainbow Diet was the name of his first book. It evolved into a much bigger volume called Conscious Eating. So we have so many things in regard to the holistic approach to life that it brings us into being able to use it in businesses and consulted with IBM, given programs at the United Nations, and so on and so forth. Then we get to another change of pace. Still, during that entire time I was teaching in Los Angeles, still doing these other things. I took study leaves of absences for a year and so on to do some of these things and kept on coming back to teach. After I retired in 2016, I did some substitute teaching periodically. And then I was at Saugus High School shooting. And that gave me PTSD. I finally got it from all the craziness that I had gone through. But then I got rid of it by doing these peacemaking practices. And you don't have to go through any of that shootings. Like I had a student that was wounded into the room next to me. I was going to go in and help, but the first responders were already there. And so I didn't have to do that. So I helped the students de-stress because of my teaching stress management at the United Nations and Oxford Medical School and so on. I then, because of that, a year later, we formed the Peace Lab. We produced programs for Humanity Rising Global Solutions Summit in creating peace in everything. Everything is peace. Now, switch slides, please. Thank you, Tim. So we formed Peacemaker circles. We started the Peacemakers Network, Peacemaker Circles Network, and it uses the master heart and master mind collaboration modalities using Bohemian dialogue. Much like what we have here in this program that you offer is we get together in satsang. We coagulate like you have. You've met regularly. You know each other. You're friendly. You can be at others' houses and so on. And so it opens us to a deeper level of expression. Most people sort of don't express fully and freely when they first meet somebody. I have a hard time meeting people, as you can tell. So we also have ways to unlock people's potential. Why? That's the sports psychology background that we have. The leadership development. Everybody in a room learns to be more and more of a leader. Why? They realize somebody's watching them. Somebody's modeling themselves after them. They're actually leaders in disguise. And we allow people to learn that. We allow people to see that. We use neuroscience, sound phrasing for brain synchronization. I just got treated physically for this body that has experienced neuropathy. And my neuropathy is now beginning to go away because of the new science of neurology, the neuroscience. It's using throbbing. It's called a pulse electronic magnetic field. Tony Robbins uses one on his whole body. This you put in certain parts of your spine, you sit on, you put around your neck, you put around your knees, you get these throbs of vibration, and they help to be able to connect up your energy field again, to be able to, let's say, stimulate it. Like the Monroe Institute brought in the sound phasing for brain synchronization, and Yuval Ron does with his hertz, 40 hertz understanding, and so on. Sound is extremely powerful. And we use modern communication technologies and skills, the AI. Now, somebody has a question?
Hi, yes. I'm here. Whitney, I decided to tune in. I'm sorry I got sick, but thank you, Kurt, for all your talking. But usually we have a time that people can respond to you, and maybe that time would be now. If people have
anytime.
questions or comments.
I thought we were going to have it at the end, but that's okay. I'll shut up. because that's actually a better thing, because that way, if I, let's say, uh, if I inspire some thought, then maybe we can answer the thought and get it clear. Thank you.
Okay.
We'll work it as you like to work it. Go for it. Any
So,
comments or questions or clarifications or anything I can do to serve? I'm here to
yeah,
serve you.
I guess that means anybody who wants to could jump in whenever they want to ask Kurt questions or comments.
Mhm.
We were going to wait a little while, but that's fine.
I would suggest, because Kurt has a number more of slides to get through, that we just go on with this and then do questions at the end.
Yeah, let's do it that way. Thank you.
Okay. Let's jump to the next one, then we'll move on very quickly
Yes,
then.
great. Great presentation, Kurt.
Okay, we've done with that slide.
Yes. Okay, here we go.
Thank you. So, as you see, this is not just a verb, it's a noun, and we get to be able to be it and enact it. And that's a little quote from Dorothea Day. She started something called the Catholic Workers. And interestingly enough, my wife down in South Africa applied that in working against apartheid. Uh, and it works because it's using the power of love and nonviolent communication. And this is one of the things that we get to do. When we walk our talks, people really respond rather than people who have never ever been walking such talk. Next slide, please. Now, I put this up because this guy was over 60 years old. It's the only photograph that's in the book Winning Ways for Living that was a bestseller at one time that Kurt wrote. It's Beyond the Beyond into a New Paradigm. That's only over 7,000 pounds. He did it 3 times after midnight in front of over 40 people. And that photograph, if you enlarge it and look at the center silver things, that it's a U shape that supports all those weights, you will see that it is off the standard by that much. And he did it having one hand on the standard and one hand lifting it. Wow. So he used his legs and his structure to lift it up, his whole being. Now, that looks shocking, but I myself have picked up a car so that somebody could put tires underneath it after I had gotten back from a swim workout with world record holders, an hour and a half swim workout, because my brother got us in the accident. And women have picked up cars and pulled their child from underneath it at the same time. So what can't this body do? Now, some women will scream bloody murder. Some people will stand there and say, I can't do that. Other people do something. So when we enact without thinking, because thinking, as O.J. Simpson said, is what gets you caught from behind. And he got caught. So next slide, please. Peace applications. It's personal. If you are not peaceful, what the hell does it good to anybody? You're going to cause your friends to be unpeaceful if you're unpeaceful. Your family. I mean, the most important thing is family. Wife and kids, and then the bigger family and the bigger family, and we don't have it. Only one family, and that's the universe. Family, neighborhood, education. 90% reduction in violence at refugee camps within 2 years of implementation of an education program, a character education program. Environmental changes can happen dramatically. Look what happened when we stopped all the things at the start of COVID. People could see the Himalayas from Delhi again. We could breathe fresh air again here in LA. Justice, we got to get restorative justice. Economics, donut economics and things like that, and B corporations. Governance, having ranked choice voting. We get it everywhere. It's applicable everywhere. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So, peace in everything, everything is peace. This is the way we do it. We've run through this already. It's totally available on, let's go to the next one. We've already done this. This is a 13-year-old created this image.
Oh.
The world is knitted together by the help of our friends. Everybody, everything, every action helps. Everybody's. No small action is not affected the universe. Next, please. So take a picture of that link, or take a picture of the whole thing if you want to, but the link tree is the same thing as what that QR code gives you. It has tons of information in any and all the things we discussed just now on how to be able to bring peace to life. It's your gift. You bring it forth in the way you are guided to bring it forth. Next slide, please. And if this were to play, if you clicked in that little thing in the lower corner of that dream, that's an image at Van Nuys Middle School that was painted on a wall because of our PE program. We don't dream impossible dreams. We make the dreams that seem to be impossible possible. So Chariots of Fire is the theme song. And there's a story behind that too, but next. And that's it. PeacMakers Circles Network, you can join it. You can be part of it. It takes 1 hour a week, and it's a gift to you, and the gift keeps giving when you keep giving. Thank you.
All right.
Questions, answers.
There we go.
This is fascinating. Yes, people, what do we want? Thank you. Thank you. I see Patricia.
Yeah, I went several times to retreats in Thich Nhat Hanh's monastery, and I never experienced peace at that level for several days. In fact, I want to show the group peace in every step. If he's writing, yes.
Yes, yes.
And I sing Om Namah Shivaya in Kirtan sometimes. Yoga studio was very helpful. Thank you for your speech.
We are blessed to meet any being like that at any level, anywhere. And we get to be that being anytime, anywhere. Thank you. Yes, Michael.
Kurt, it was a magnificent presentation, and I've encountered the need and the issue for peace in my career many times, but how do you deal with peace when conflict is so deeply wired into our species?
Oh, that's so interesting a point. And we get to unwire it. We get to rewire it. That's the beauty. You look at what happens with peace. How is it that we can have 90% reduction in violence at a refugee camp within 2 years? If it can happen there, the lady went then down to Johannesburg, where my wife went to school at Witwatersrand University, one of the top universities in the world. That school, I mean, my goodness, she designed a program for homeless people, transient people. Similar kinds of results.
Mm-hmm.
So if we look at what we don't want, we're distracted from what we do want. Let's keep our focus on what we want and fuel it, because all the distractions are watching the idiot box. That's why they call it that. Or spending all the time on YouTube and finding out all the horrors of the world that are happening. You can I know all about Gaza. I know all about what's happening in South Sudan. I know all about all the starvation everywhere in the world. Do I focus on that? Only on the remediation. I focus on what I can do. In our PeacMakers circles in Liberia, we have people that are working in regenerating the soil so that people can eat. They're not having good soil because they've messed it up because of the old practices. And that's the thing that they need to focus on. So we fuel them with ideas and ways to be able to bring about what they need. Also, the education. If they're not educated in it, that's the primary force. Educare is the primary force to the entire change and keeping the focus on what it is that we want. And then we have joy. Joy comes forth, and when joy is expressed, it transforms that other stuff.
Thank
When
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That's, well, it's an eternal cycle and a continually renewing cycle.
Mhm.
Well, we get to stop it now by putting in more media, and there's a whole group, a bunch of groups, the Evolutionary Leaders group, and so on.
There are other
And
people with questions, so we should open up and talk to them too.
yeah, okay. More questions. Mac, you have one?
Do you have a question?
I don't see any hands. Kurt, this
I
is
got
quite
plenty of answers, but I
amazing.
gave, the
Yeah,
QR code is a wizard for everything that I give pretty much in all those areas that I just touched on is in that available in that QR code. Eugenia.
thank you. Kurt, this has just been fascinating. And I love it. And yeah, positiveness. So my question is, the first slide that you showed us was, what is your vision of peace?
Mhm.
So I'm curious, what is your vision of peace?
I had it up on the screen, the vision of peace. My vision of peace is because I know total peace is possible. That I am the peace that ignites in others their vision of peace, uniting together and creating peace in everything. Everything is peace. So if we see something is not peaceful, like this guy standing in front of me with a gun at Crenshaw High School, I had failed him in a government class. He can't graduate because of it. I'm outside my classroom in passing period, and he walks up for the government class, and within 5 feet of me, he pulls out a gun. And I calmly but firmly said, "Give me the gun." I didn't say it with that exact tone. I could never repeat it the way I said it. But I think the reason he handed me the gun when I said that was because he'd never seen anybody not have fear, and he didn't know what to do. He just heard me. And I was the teacher in that moment, thank God. And he gave me the gun. I go into my classroom, make the phone call to the security guy, get him up there. He takes the gun and the guy away. I go back in my classroom and teach. Teachers down the hall who witnessed it down the hall were so freaked out, they went into the lounge to chill out. They let their class be. Now, why wasn't I tripped out? It was over. Why? Because I've been meditating at that time. That was 1978 or so, somewhere around there. I've been meditating for 3 or 4 years, an hour a day. I'd wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and meditate for an hour. Then I'd get prepared to go to school. I'd go to school. I'd take a bus down to Crenshaw High School from the Wilshire district. And I never sat in the back, otherwise I would have been stoned before I got to school. I mean, life is magical when we stay present And that's how we are the gift, is being present. And I that's why this peacemaker miracle practice, the simple thing, peace in everything, everything is peace. Peace in everything, everything is peace. When we put in gratitude, we say, thank you for peace in everything, everything is peace. That gratitude attracts it even more. We know the power of gratitude. We're at one with that kind of an idea. We have all these teachings that we get to have at our tongue. And now we make it our body. We make this whole being resonate. It is so joyful. And you see
Thank you.
these smiles. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, and to reinforce that, because there's physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, it incorporated, and to do it many times a day, the practice. It's the practice, it's a doing that incorporates that, I think, into our bodies. Yeah, we have time for about one more question and then we need to wrap it up. Anybody, any comments, questions for Kurt? Patricia, we've heard from you. Let's go to Bill, okay? Oh, we're not done. Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, quickly. Yeah, I just, so astounding and inspiring, Kurt. So, my mind is going crazy. The wheels are turning, and I'm going, wow, possibilities. So it's just kind of, I have no other words except admiration and thanks right now. Thank you very much.
That thank you is from all of us. Patricia, did you want to ask a question?
Well, I saw that there were a lot of slides still in the presentation, so I was wondering if you can come back.
Oh, did you get that,
He
Kurt?
finished the slides, but I would
got-
second that, Kurt. You have ignited in us some of the things we already know, but you've really brought them up. There are so many people here working to make a difference, to raise the energy, to raise the consciousness. Your mantra is fantastic. I was looking at thank you for peace in everything. Everything is peace. And I'm looking, thank you for compassion in everything. Everything is compassion. Because all of these thank you for loving kindness, because everything is loving kindness. So this is just such a great template mantra. So appreciated. Thank you for coming and blessing us.
Well, one quick thing. Today at 10 o'clock, I just put into the chat the link to it. Normally you get to be able to, sign on and all that kind of stuff or whatever to the link to get it through Noble Goldman. But you can come on today's Peacemaker Circle that is happening at 10. It is one of the circles that we have. And feel free if you have the time. And most, it looks like on this side, are retired already. And if you're not, you deserve to be able to do all that you get to get. You have everything as a gift anyway. And you can contact me anytime. I'm here to serve because I'm, as they say in India, a karma yogi. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We,
And I
this has
will
been
be
fascinating.
happy
Thank
to email out any of your information so people can access it. Thank you so much. And thank
Yeah,
you.
put any of the information I put into the chat in the email. It's everything's
If you
good.
send me an email, I'm happy to forward it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
We all really thank you. Thank you so much for this marvelous presentation, Kurt.